Hello student, this lecture I am targeting in particular your senior student, means those who have already completed 12th and preparing for JEE good set and NEET. What we are going to have in this lecture is I'll give briefs of EMI, electromagnetic induction. We are not going to be in depth of any topic which is not required right now because you already crossed board. How you have to apply that? First, electromagnetic induction as per Faraday's law, E is equal to N delta phi by delta T. I am not taking negative sign, means this is only magnitude. Now this particular formula E equal to N delta phi by delta T, how you can have delta phi can be written as B A2 minus A1, or it is equal to B2 minus B1A, or it can be BA cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. Look, when to apply first. In first and second condition, first of all, we have taken theta equals to 0. Theta equals to 0, how we will have the wording for theta equals to 0? So remember, plane of the loop is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Like this is magnetic field, plane of the loop is perpendicular to the magnetic field. So area vector is parallel to the magnetic field. Because in equation of flux, phi is equal to BA cos theta. Theta represents angle between area vector and magnetic field. So in first and second, this is condition when plane of the loop is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Here, B is constant, A is variable, A is constant, B is variable. And third case is when loop is rotating from theta 1 to theta 2. Then in that case, flux phi is equal to BA cos theta 2 minus cos theta 1. What I said, I have avoided negative sign which is due to Lenz law, that we will discuss separately as direction for induced EMF. What is that? If you remember, in all textbook it is written as minus N delta phi by delta T. The negative sign indicates that induced EMF oppose the change in flux. Remember, induced EMF do not have to oppose the flux. Induced EMF or induced current have to oppose the change in flux. For example, if flux is increasing, then induced EMF will not allow flux to increase. And if flux is decreasing, then induced EMF will not allow flux to decrease. I'll give one or two examples. Like, take magnetic field which is into the plane of paper and perpendicular to the plane of paper. We are having a circular coil which enter in situation 1 and second circular coil which come out. So how EMF will induce when this coil is entering into the magnetic field? And how EMF will induce or current will induce when coil is coming out from the magnetic field? So see what happened. First of all, in this question, students are committing this mistake that they are taking induced EMF or field produced by induced EMF always opposite to the original field. No. Field produced by induced EMF will oppose the change in flux. Like first situation, when the coil is entering into the field, what happened? Inward flux is increasing. Inward flux is increasing, so current should induce inside the coil in such a way that it compensates the increment in inward flux. It opposes the increment or it compensates the increment in the inward flux. That's why here, as inward field is increasing, the current should induce in anti-clockwise direction. How? Because anti-clockwise direction will produce outward field. So this outward field or outward flux, we can say, will compensate the inward or increment in the inward flux. But here what happened when the coil is coming out? When the coil is coming out, in that case, inward field is decreasing. And as inward field is decreasing, then induced current should compensate the decrement. Now to compensate the decrement, it have to produce another inward field. So here current will induce in such clockwise direction. Okay. Again I do repeat, here inward field was increasing. That's why induced current developed outward field to compensate the increment. Same way here inward field is decreasing. So to compensate the decrement, induced current will develop a new inward field. That's why current should increase in clockwise direction. That's how you have to apply Lenz law. Okay. One more example I will give. Let's say we are having horizontal wire which carries current I. And the loop is kept over here. So first of all, field developed by this wire will be in this direction. Okay, by right hand palm push rule. Here it will develop outward field. Now if this current is increasing, then naturally magnetic flux associated with this loop is increasing. Sorry. As magnetic flux associated with this loop is increased, so current should develop in this loop or current should induce in this loop in such way that it opposes that increment or it can compensate the increment. That's why in this condition, as outward field is increasing, outward flux is increasing, so to compensate it should develop inward field. And to develop inward field, current should increase in clockwise direction. But instead of that, same situation. Again, horizontal wire which carries current I. And we have kept a circular loop. Now, if this current is decreasing, then outward field is decreasing. To develop more outward field, current should develop or induce in anti-clockwise direction. Because here we have to compensate what? Increment. The induced current develop field which is opposite to the original field. Here we have to compensate what? Decrement. That's why induced current should develop field which is in the same direction as original field. Okay? That's how you have to apply Lenz law concept. Yes, we'll continue further. Yes, another concept in this lecture what will continue. Motional EMF, how to apply that and direction of motional EMF. For that, first you know that motional EMF E equals to B L V. When a rod of length L moves with velocity V in magnetic field B, then EMF induced E equals to BLV. But while applying this concept, E equals to BLV, remember an important parameter, all three quantity B, L and V should be mutually perpendicular. E equals to BLV is only applicable, all three B, L and V are mutually perpendicular. If any of two are at some angle theta, in that case this equation will change to BLV sin theta. Again I do repeat, E is equal to BLV is applicable only when all are mutually perpendicular. B, L and V. If any of two parameter B and L and V or B and V are at certain angle theta, then it will be BLV sin theta. One example of that I will give. For example, we are having two parallel rail tracks which are inclined at certain angle theta with horizontal. And a rod of length L is sliding downward. Field is horizontal. In that case, you cannot apply BLV. What you have to apply? E is equal to BLV sin theta. Because here velocity and field are at certain angle theta. So we'll use BLV sine theta. So remember when to use these, when all are mutually perpendicular. When to use these, any two parameters are at certain angle theta. To come back to this equation, E equals to BLV. What I said, you can use E equals to BLV when all three parameters are certain angle theta. Sorry, correction. When all three parameters are mutually perpendicular. That's why if a rod have free fall in the magnetic field of earth, if a rod of length L have free fall in the magnetic field of earth, if you want to apply motional EMF E equals to BLV, remember rod should always align east-west. Then only EMF will induce. If I have to apply E equals to BLV for free falling rod in the magnetic field of earth, then length of rod should always align in east-west direction. Why? Because V is vertically downward, B from north to south. That's why length should be east-west. One. Second, for free falling rod, I'll replace B with BH. That is horizontal component of earth magnetic field. What I said, I'll replace B with BH. Why? Because here velocity is vertically downward. So field should be vertical, because what condition we have to maintain? All three should be mutually perpendicular. Same way, you may have also a question like plane is flying in the magnetic field of earth. Now if plane flies in magnetic field of earth from north to south, then let's say the plane is flying from north to south. Then here wings of the plane will act like a rod which are aligned east-west, means EMF will induce along the wings of the plane. And when we are applying E equals to BLV, we have to take BV, vertical component of earth magnetic field. Again I do repeat, whenever you are applying this equation to free falling rod in the magnetic field of earth, rod should always align in east-west direction, and B you have to replace with BH. Same way for motion of plane, if it is north-south, then wings can be taken as a rod which are aligned in east-west direction. Then in equation E equals to BLV, B you will take as a BV, vertical component of earth magnetic field. Yeah, one more thing, particularly you will have such MCQ where two magnitude will be same, but in option direction, like one may be towards north and second towards the south or east-west, something like that, like 10 volt induced EMF, north 10 volt, south, then problem arise because value-wise both options are same. In that case, you have to follow Fleming's rule, Fleming's right hand rule. When B, L and V all are mutually perpendicular, means stretch the thumb, index finger and middle finger mutually perpendicular. Out of that, thumb is giving motion of the rod, direction of motion of the rod. This gives the magnetic field, and this represents the direction of induced EMF or induced current. Again I do repeat, how to apply Fleming's rule: stretch all three, thumb, index finger and middle finger mutually perpendicular. This represents motion. Like if motion is towards east, you will put it towards the east. Towards the west, you will push towards the west. If it is vertically downward, you will put vertically downward. This represents direction of magnetic field. Going into the plane of paper, coming out of the plane of paper, vertically upward, whatever. And this gives direction of induced current. So you should always be comfortable about direction of induced current or EMF when you are applying E equals to BLV. Yes, student. Here we have discussed motional EMF and Faraday's law, according to which E equal to delta phi by delta T, and how to apply that. One more small topic, and then we will go through self and mutual inductance in further lecture to come. What I want in yes, one more concept of motional EMF. Look, all these situations are similar, and you may have MCQ based on this. Rod of length L rotate with respect to its end with angular velocity omega, or conducting wheel having n number of spokes rotating, each spoke have length L, field is vertically upward. Or one more situation, disc or semicircular disc or quarter disc, whatever. Here I am taking complete disc or even quarter disc, complete, or quarter disc, or even semicircular disc, all having radius r. So what is common in all? Look, this is just game of wording. Whatever you are applying for rod, you can apply for everywhere. What is that? EMF induced between its two ends. E is equal to B omega L square by 2. Whether it is single rod of length L or conducting wheel with n number of spokes, each spoke have length L, or a disc of radius R, quarter disc or semicircular disc. In all, you can use this E equal to B omega L square by 2, provided that here E will be B omega R square by 2, L you have replaced with R. Prepare this formula properly. You may have a question, maybe in neat or in good set. This can be tempered with other questions like if this rod is rotating with respect to midpoint, with respect to point which is at 1/4 of the length, like this. But you are supposed to prepare this topic properly for your application of MCQ question. Yes, student, we will continue with mutual inductance and self-inductance, a 7-8 minute topic left. But meanwhile, try to solve questions based on this. Yeah, all the best.